public strikes and anti-coup protests, the new academic year started with the usual bustle of activity. Millions of students flocked off Egyptian schools and universities for the first week of the new academic year. We'll be discussing with Professor Dr. Sedeek Afify. He's the General Secretary of the Arab Council for Morality and Citizenship and also the Vice President for the Democratic Front Party. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
So at the beginning, I'd like to ask you, there has been a lot of fear and concerns of the return of the academic year. How do you evaluate it being a professor?
There was a lot of fear and a lot of apprehension regarding how regular will this classes be and how whether there will be demonstrations, sit-ins and so on. Even 2 universities or 3 universities postponed their opening this year.
Yes.
Azhar University, Helwan University, Ain Shams University, they postponed the return of the school year.
Significant.
And they have many students, of course. But because the Ministry of the Interior and the security of the university took guard for the situation, I think everything went smoothly in most of the cases, except for a few incidents here and there. In Cairo University, an incident with some renowned professor of religion, and in Asyut University, a little sit-in and so on. But in general, I think the classes are good, everything is good, and the students are taking their classes as they should do.
So do you think the academic year might be affected due to this delay or postponement?
It will be effective, inshallah, and effectiveness is not only related to the regularity of the classes, it's also related to the attitude of professors and of students. And I think all Egyptians, professors and students and parents, have a positive attitude this year because they feel they have achieved a better future for their country.
Are there any fears that universities will be witnessing political battles and significant strikes and protests?
This could happen, of course, if you mean political, peaceful battles between students and organizations inside the university. This will go on for a long time in the future, yeah, because the toppling of the ex-president by the people on the 30th of June caused a lot of trouble among the group supporting him, and this group is not giving up. They are trying all the time to cause some trouble in the country so that we try to understand their position and maybe give them some role in running the country. So I think they will continue, and they will continue making some trouble. But the problem is that the government should be strong. If the government is strong, those troubles will be limited, because we have now the emergency law. The emergency law is enforced. If the emergency law is enforced, so no demonstrations should be allowed, no sit should be allowed. But somehow the government is reluctant to enforce the law which is governing the country. So what we got from the law now is bad reputation in the outside world and no effectiveness locally.
Yes. If we move away a little bit away, and if you can tell us about the Arab Council for the Morality and Citizenship, its objectives and its aims.
The Arab Council for Morality and Citizenship is a non-governmental organization, as you can imagine. We hope that we can restore again the morals in the Egyptian society, because we felt that over the past few decades, protocol, etiquette, morals, values have deteriorated a little. This deterioration has to be reversed, and we set on to try to do that, and to try to encourage all institutions to stand for values and for morals.
Yes.
Several institutions can help on this. The educational institutions, the mass communication institution, the religious institution, and the family. Those four institutions can do a lot. So we do some awareness sessions, whether in conferences or in lectures and so on, to make people aware of the importance of morality and morals and how to instill values in the young. Even we do some training for teachers to play a role in instilling values in the characters of their students, and those training sessions are very admired by teachers themselves. They feel they benefit a lot from them, and they become a better teachers, because before that the teacher thought that all they are concerned with is to teach math, physics and science and so on, and they have nothing to do with discipline, protocol, etiquette, politeness, etc. We think and we believe, which is it's true, that the role of the educational institution is to build the character, to build the personality, the right personality in our students. The right personality should have science, should have knowledge, and should have also morals and
yes.
values and so on. And every month in the education institution, we have a number of values which we try to promote. And we have committees from students and parents and teachers gather together and think of how to promote those values. For instance, this first month of this academic year, we have 10 values: peace, tolerance, cleanliness, etc., justice, yes. Citizenship, and the committees in every school and every university should think for themselves how to promote those values, how to among the society in general and in their institution. This is one side of our work in the moral, the
yes.
Council for Moral Education and Citizenship. Another side of our activity is to convince those people who write television dramas and write film, movie scenarios and so on, to tell them that the scenarios they prepare and the stories they prepare, the dialogue itself affects the kind
values,
of,
yes.
even the language spoken in
very
the
true.
street. So we advise them to take care of that, and they are very receptive. Religious people who give the speeches on Friday or any other session, religious session, also we have meetings for them and convince them to have the moderate side of Islam, no exaggeration, no
extremism,
no terrorism, nothing. So this is about our organization.
Yes, I think the two approaches are great. And how do you think it is scaling? Because you mentioned one of them is through committees in universities and schools, you aim to scale and have
yes.
further reach, and also significant entities that are significantly affecting the mass.
Yes.
So is this scaling, in your opinion, and how long have been the council doing this?
The council has been doing this for a few years, 3 years now, and they are quite successful in getting through to the people. Even if you reach the parents of students and convince them that morality is important, values are important, they should endorse what the school does for your child. So he don't teach him to lie. Tell him to tell the truth. Tell him to be responsible. Tell him not to wait for somebody to tell him to do his homework. He should be a responsible guy. When we reach the parents, they are very enthusiastic, and I think it is doing well. How long it will take for the 90 million people of Egypt? It will take some time, but even if it takes some time, no harm in making a start. We
Yes,
are
this is very
making
true.
the start.
This is very true. It's a beautiful idea, and it's definitely it's a very important objective to the nation, since you have been tackling one of the important challenges of Egypt. But haven't you thought of channels that are massively reached, or like, for example, for the radio? Does the government support you with any means in order to have a session, a very short 5-minute session on the radio channels, for example?
Well, that's a very good idea, and we have made some agreements with the broadcasting and with the TV to do a few things. We go on programs, talk programs like this, to talk about the subject, to talk about the thing, but we need a permanent
Timing.
slot
Yes,
on the
exactly.
program. This we have not succeeded in so far.
Yes. So, leveraging your position, if you can give us this pitch for like 2 minutes to the viewers, a pitch that people can leverage and use when they're dealing with their children or with dealing with people.
When you are dealing with your children, makes your child more confident in himself. Tell him to practice dreaming, because if you don't dream, you don't move forward. If you don't dream, you don't succeed. Every good thing that happened in life and every great achievement started with a dream in the head of somebody. So dreaming is very good. Don't terrorize your children, or if they tell some imaginary thing, no, this is very
Don't
good.
kill their thoughts.
Don't kill
Embrace
their
it
thoughts.
and try to
Right.
support it.
Also, tell them not to lie. Tell them to respect the older. Tell them to respect time, because time in Egypt is not respected as it should be. We know that time is very valuable, but very few people respect the time, the dates, appointments, and so on. So tell him to do that. In the schools, I ask the teachers, all the teachers, to enter their lessons on the dot and to respect the time. All lecturers in the university should do the same. If a parent is speaking on the phone, answering somebody a call, asking for his wife, he should not say she's not here while she's sitting on his side, because the child will do the same. He will repeat the same thing. If you are admiring somebody, be well behaved when you express your admiration and so on. We teach etiquette in our schools, etiquette, how to deal with a lady, whether you meet somebody, you meet a lady in the street, should you come and approach her before she approaches you, and you know her? We tell them, don't approach her and try to shake hands with her until she makes a gesture that she recognizes you and she tries to shake hands with you, but don't force yourself upon her. If you are entering a place, the lady should go first. If you are invited over dinner and sitting on the table, there are some rules to be followed on the table for having your dinner, and so on.
This reminds us of the old good days where people were really focused about protocols and values, like you
And
mentioned.
I hope present days and nowadays are better than the good old days. And we will make them better than the good old days, by the way.
So part of the opinions go through that the laws are enforcing the values in Egypt.
No, the law says many rules, but unfortunately, the law is not enough to make people follow the rules and follow the kind of discipline we want. So it must come from inside, from your conscience, from your kind of the education you received when you were young, how to deal with people and so on.
Yes.
Not by the law, not by the law.
Yes. There has been trials for transformation in the education sector in Egypt. How are you seeing the current challenges and the performance of the education segment in Egypt?
As to the university, we have the university and we have the pre-university education. Those are two systems have different problems. In the at the university level, I can see that the Ministry of Higher Education has made a few resolutions which are surprising to everybody, and I think they have not been thought through well. One decision was to forgive the students from paying the rent of their hostels. The hostel costs every student £700, and the student pays only £60 a month. Now the government forgave the student from paying those £60. This costs the government about billions of pounds. This is not a decision to be taken by a government which complains of high debts and high, etc. Another thing, the Minister of Education has forgave the students from paying the fees, very low fees, nominal fees. In fact, they are used for activities and cleanliness only. And he doesn't have money to give the schools to compensate for this. So the problem in schools now is that the headmasters are asked to keep their schools clean, and they don't have money for that. They have to beg parents again to give them money to spend on cleanliness and so on. So some decisions are taken without enough thought by those responsible guys. Second thing is that we have made a decision regarding the lower or the minimum wage for everybody in the government to be £1,200, and some people think that, not some people, the financial minister said that this will cost something like 700 million or 70 billion pounds. From where he will get this, I don't know. While we are borrowing from Kuwait, from Saudi Arabia, chasing the World Bank to give us a loan and so on. Why should we do that? You are not helping yourself. You are causing trouble to yourself. This is my opinion.
Right. Finally, Doctor, Professor, I'd like to thank you very much. Professor Sedeek Afify, General Secretary of the Arab Council for Morality and Citizenship, and also the Vice President of the Democratic Front Party. I'd like to thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the very good location you have selected for our meeting.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this edition of Nile Cruise. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us. Have a great time and goodbye.